Hey everyone, it's Laura here from Laura's Creative Pages and Cards, and I thought that I'd just film myself doing a double page layout and how I go about it. So what I have here is all my photos that I'm going to use, and I don't have a particular layout design in mind. I always start with cutting down my photos. I only ever have 4x6s and I just trim them down to suit. So if it's something large like this photo of myself, I obviously keep it so that you see my whole face. And then if I have two photos that are similar, I pick the best one. So the one I chose was without somebody in the background, and I'm trimming them all down by 1/4 of an inch. So these ones here are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So everything I cut down is going to be in a 3/4. So this particular one here, my focus is actually the Disney castle in the background. So I'm going to trim this one down quite small, and this is going to be 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm just going to take off a huge amount of the sky and then quite a bit off the bottom, and then all of a sudden the Disney castle comes into focus. So what I really do first is I trim them down to the size that I'm happy with, and then I'll start looking at them for colours and what to incorporate. So this particular photo here is Michael and I with Pluto, and again there's a lot of wastage, space in the bottom. And so then I just go through and just make sure I keep what's important. I'm more than happy to trim us down, but I do try and keep, obviously, what's important. Now with my hand there, I was just sort of measuring, would it suit a 4x4, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So trimming is my very first thing to do. Then once I've managed to trim all of the photos down to the size that I think I'm going to be happy with, I then pop the trimmer aside and I start laying them out onto the paper. So I just sort of get a feel for where they're going to sit. And sometimes this can happen really fast, and sometimes it takes a bit of moving around. So I try and cluster it together to keep the parts of the photos that go together. And it does take a bit of rearranging and moving around until I'm happy. So as you can see, I'm back and forthing. On the left-hand side is us arriving at Disneyland, and on the right-hand side is photos from two different parts, two different rides. So one of them is in Frontierland, which is these three here that are from me and Mike above down to the bottom is the 3 from Frontierland, and then the other 4 photos are from Adventureland at Pirates of the Caribbean. So I'm actually going to trim this photo down a little bit more. It's just sort of props from Frontierland. I'm not too worried that I'm losing a little bit more of it. It's more just of a remembering that there was props in Frontierland, so it doesn't bother me that I'm taking it down a bit smaller. So then those 3 photos there in a row are Frontierland, and the other 4 are Pirates of the Caribbean. So I just sort of play around until I've got it clustered how I like. So these first 4 on the left hand side are arriving at Disneyland, and then the 7 on the other page are from 2 rides in Disneyland. So now that I'm sort of confident this is where I roughly want my photos to sit and how I want them to look, then I start looking at what colours are in them that I think I can pull in to mount them or decorate behind them and so forth. So looking at this, my beanie that I'm wearing is quite a prominent colour through across the 2 pages. So I've got my beanie, and then there's Pluto, and then there's, the flames in the Pirates of the Caribbean. And to me, that sort of is one colour. So that's the Sundance colour for me. So I'm just going to go over and grab a piece of Sundance. So I'm going to map my photos, but there's 11 photos and I don't really feel like I want to do them all in Sundance. So I'm just sort of thinking I might mix and match between half of them as Sundance, and then I'll pick another colour for the other half. So as you can see, I did the first 2 on the left page, and now I've done 3 on the right page and the 4th one. And Harbour's the colour that I've chosen to go for the other contrasting colour. So the Harbour is what's going to go on all the remaining photos. And so all of my photos were, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 or 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So all of my photo mats are actually in 7/8. Okay, and now that I've done it, I realised on this right-hand page I wasn't quite happy with the layout, and that's okay. So I've just moved them around. Okay, so they were already matted, but that's okay. I've managed to move them around, and I'm just cutting a 2 7/8 by 3 7/8 in Harbour to fill in this little gap down here, and that's where the journal box is going to go. So the journal box is getting cut out of 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 white daisy. And as you can see, it's sort of really quite aesthetically pleasing now how it's laid out. I'm very happy with this, and it's a very full page on the right, but I've got lots of room on the left to sort of decorate and pull it all together. So as you can see, there's quite a big white gap here, over here on the left-hand page, and I'm going to put a title up there, and then I'm going to put another title through the center here. So what I did was I went and found a decorative piece of paper, which is this gorgeous blue gingham type paper, and it comes from the Valentine paper that we had this year. So even though it's not Valentine's, it's perfect, and I love that it's in the Carolina blue, so it brings out, if you look in the photo on the right hand page of the Pirates of the Caribbean, there's that Carolina blue sort of there, and that's where I've pulled in that colour. And then I went and cut out my title, Disneyland, and I did actually cut this out on my Cricut because I wanted to get it done nice and fast, and I wanted it a specific size. So I cut that out again out of the Sundance and did that on my Cricut. And I also went and cut out a title to go through the centre of the right hand page, and I did this also on the Cricut because if I was already on the Cricut, I may as well. Oh, sorry, I skipped a bit. I cut out 3 circles to make like Mickey Mouse ears as well for the left hand page. Then through the centre here, this is where I put in another title, Rides, Glorious Rides, and I cut this out on my Cricut because I figured I was already on the Cricut, I may as well just cut out my second title as well. And so this is a black outline with the Sundance, which will be sitting in the center. So basically that is it. That's my double page spread. It didn't take me overly long. It's not, you know, hugely embellished or anything like that, but these particular photos are quite busy and they have a lot of the story within them. And then I just went ahead and journaled in my journal box, and then on my left hand page I did some little thin strips of white cardstock and I journaled on those as well. So I put all of that together, and there's 11 photos across the 2 pages. There's a little bit of paper. Oh, and that's right, I'm just going to quickly show you, I've just got a little decoration so I can tie in the left to the right page. I just made a really small dovetail piece to go there, and my message in the bottle, my little bottle of rum to go with Pirates of the Caribbean. So there you go, that is my 2-page spread done and completed, and hopefully that helps you understand my process. Bye!